Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice. We're here at Northpointe Bank in Warwick, and we're here today for episode 5 of Your Property Managed with Keith Cerio.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I've never met Keith before. He was nominated by our previous guest, Mike Harrison of Williams & Stewart Real Estate. So once again, thank you, Mike, for the referral, and we're excited to see who you, Keith, recommend for guest number 6. So you have about an hour to think about that.
Okay.
If you don't have somebody already.
No, I'll think about it for an hour.
So anything that pushes the real estate ball forward here in Rhode Island, that's who that guest should be.
I'm all for it.
So let's jump right in. I don't know you. What the heck should I know about you?
I love what I do. I really have no complaints. Every day, it's not like a job where I have to, it's Monday.
Right.
I'm not looking forward for Friday. I'm all in, and I really enjoy the financial aspect, helping people get into homes. It's not like I'm selling, nothing against used car salesmen, but I'm not selling a used car, I'm selling a home, a tangible asset.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So for me, it just makes sense, so that's what I love, and I love communicating, talking, meeting new people. I really like figuring out how other people, what they do for work. I think that's pretty cool. I kind of get an inside look as to what other people do. And I like to ask them questions. So what do you do and how do you go about it, and what are your pain points? And I just kind of be more well versed,
What do you think is the toughest job?
What is the toughest job?
In your opinion, you've dealt with a lot of people that have given you their pay stub.
Yeah.
And you've probably looked and said, okay, this is a teacher, this is a fireman, this is a police officer. What's one that you've come across that you just think, wow, that is a tough gig?
For me, it'd be for a 9 to 5, I could never do a job like that. That for me is just a nail in the coffin. I would never want to do something like that. So maybe an overnight shift. I do a third shift. And then that type of 9 to 5 where you have no week, you have one day off, and you have to ask your boss to use the bathroom. That for me is the worst job. I could never do that.
How old are you?
32.
So I'm 29, so we're kind of the same generation. Yep. And I think our crowd came up that way. We had to ask the teacher to go to the bathroom. We had to get the field trip permission slip, all these things. And I remember just feeling as a kid even I don't like this structure.
Exactly.
I don't like this red tape. And it's interesting that you feel the same way.
Well, because you don't have to, what's nice about this job in particular, real estate agent, loan officer, most loan officers are just commission only. So you're in charge. You're your own boss. If you don't close loans, you're not getting paid.
Right.
So you really gotta wanna do your job and do it well. And for me, I flourished doing that. So.
And where are you coming from?
Oh, so I went to Rhode Island College, and then right out of college, I got a job working at Citizens Bank. I worked in the supermarket. Yep. So I wear a suit and tie in the supermarket. I worked at a couple markets, one in Warwick, one in Coventry. I transitioned to a couple branches. I did that for a couple years, and then I actually got recruited. So I went to Bank Newport, and I worked there for a couple of years too. I was doing towards the end of it, I was doing big equity lines, big home loans, and I wasn't really seeing much financial benefit. I was like, there's got to be more to this whole mortgage banking thing. And a friend of mine who lives in South Carolina reached and he said, Keith, you got to get into mortgages. I think you'd love it. It's an easy transition for me. I'm not selling a tangible thing. I'm selling before I went from selling equity lines, credit cards, bank accounts. Now it's like a mortgage. No one really wants a mortgage, but I can. For me, it was an easy switch. Yeah, exactly. And ever since then, I love it.
So back to Citizens Bank, right? You're in the store, which my wife, she manages 2.
Oh, she does.
Branches, okay? She used to manage 2 in-stores.
Cool.
And now they give her 2. Actually, she manages 1, a cashless branch of the future.
Yeah.
And then
there's one more over there.
Exactly, that one.
I've been to that one.
And then one at Washington Park in Providence, which is a traditional branch.
Yeah.
But the best part of the supermarket is, please place your bananas on the belt.
Yeah, no, I would.
It's gotta give you the worst headache. You go home every day, and it's between the customers, the phone calls, the background noise must be
It's tough. But honestly, it was good for me. So I gotta say, they do excellent training, overcoming objection, asking why, digging deep, really good. If you're not in the banking, if you never come, if you're just fresh, if you're like a noob, I guess, they do really good training. They really do. They trained me pretty well. A lot of it was prospecting, additional, because say if you already have a client or a customer, right, and they have like a regular checking account, you can always call them and just ask them questions and see if maybe they have money elsewhere.
Yeah.
A savings account, see if they need a credit card. Just digging deeper, asking those questions is really kind of what stuck with me.
Proactive.
Correct. Yeah.
I got a call one time and said, I noticed you have this much in your checking account. Would you consider a CD or would you consider calling our investment advisor? So I do like that about Citizens.
Yeah, I mean, and the ease of convenience, every Cumberland Farms, every Stop and Shop, there's an ATM.
True.
So I bank there.
So Bank Newport, you're in Newport?
Yeah, so I was driving over the bridge every day. That was a tough drive.
Did they validate your tolls?
No, actually, I got an easy pass, but it was the drive, and then me and my wife, we had an apartment in Cumberland. So going to Cumberland to Newport every day, it was just like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta figure something else out. And then that's when I kind of transitioned into mortgages.
And what the heck was that like? Your first maybe deal or your first, was it a refinance? Was it a purchase?
It was a purchase.
It was a purchase.
Yeah, all my deals, so I started in 2017, going into 2018, and everything was, refis were kind of drying up.
Yep.
Rates were like 4 points, I had a couple of people in the fives, even 4.7, 4.5. Rates were a little higher. So you gotta think, people weren't necessarily refinancing, they were looking to purchase, right? People always, want to purchase. Purchase is really what you want in the business because it's, you don't want to have to rely on refinances, So yeah, a couple of my first deals were rocky, to say the least.
Yeah.
Just because you don't really necessarily know how to set the expectation, communication, you figure that out as you go. And that was for me.
Did you have like a mentor or advisor kind of that helped you during that time?
Of course, yes. But also too, it's just not knowing the questions to ask the mentor or advisor. They can't read my mind and I don't know what to do. So that was a good learning process for me.
So how long does it take, in your opinion, to become a seasoned loan officer?
Oh God, there's going to be other loan officers watching this. Be like, long time. I love it because every real estate transaction is always different.
Yep.
There's so many different variables that come into play between credit, assets, what you do for work, the type of property you want to buy. It just goes on and on and on. So that's the one I like what I like about that. To answer your question, at least 2 years at least,
to get
maybe
the
3 years.
baseline.
Yeah, at least 2 to 3 years. Your first year is going to be real tough. Second year is going to be pretty tough too. Third year is kind of where you start. Okay, I get this now. Yeah, so it's clicking.
So even though you had the banking experience, it still was rocky.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. It was just learning the ins and outs, programs too, learning mortgage programs, learning different types of scenarios, so say if someone wants to refinance their house, they own a bunch of different properties, but necessarily their spouse doesn't, just refi and just get creative, that's all. There's always a way.
And one thing for the folks at home that I've learned about mortgages is that guys like Keith, they are incentivized to produce. You get accolade, you get payment, you get everything once the deal is closed.
Correct.
So a lot of folks that I've talked to, they say, oh, these mortgage brokers, they're stealing, they're doing this, they're doing that. You are more solution focused than the client is. You're probably thinking 10 steps ahead of them. How do we get to this closing table? And the client's too busy worrying about step one. That's what I learned about people in your profession is they don't give up.
No.
They get it done. They find a road, they find a way.
Yes.
Like you just advised me off camera on a situation I'm having. Boom, try this.
Try it. I mean, doesn't
Doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt. Yeah, you have nothing to lose, everything to gain. And really the thing is too, is also learning how to deal with like credit. That's a big thing, Credit is huge as far as to say if someone doesn't necessarily qualify today, you have to think long term. This business is such a snowball effect. It's what I was saying about the first year's tough, second year's kind of tough.
Yeah.
But once you have that good client base and you get your name out there and people's word of mouth, small state, and you gotta, treat people well. I think that's huge. Golden rule.
Yeah.
Don't ever do anyone wrong. Be honest, upfront, transparent, and people will really feed off that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's your least favorite part of the business?
Oh.
Not of Northpointe specifically, but the business in general. Like, what's one thing every day, like, oh, god damn.
I never want to deliver the bad news, right? So I always I want to be the yes man. I always want to say yes.
Yeah.
But sometimes people just don't qualify today.
So denying people.
Correct. But it's not just a simple denial. What I would do is tell them they don't qualify today, but show them what they need to do to qualify in the future.
Got it.
Sometimes it takes 3 months, sometimes it takes a couple of years, and 99% of the time it's because they're issues with credit.
Got it.
They might have judgments, liens, old collections they didn't realize they had. So it's our job to show them what's on there and give them a solution to resolve that. Yeah.
So is Northpointe a broker, or do you guys service the loans as well?
We service the loans. So we're
folks stay with you once it's done.
correct, yes. We're FDIC. We have a brick and mortar in, I should know, Michigan. Yep, and that's our home base.
Just like,
Grand Rapids.
okay.
Yeah.
Just like, was it Quicken Loans is in Ohio or Detroit or something? It seems like a lot of companies are in the middle of
Yeah,
the
so
country.
I don't know if you can open a checking account and savings account with Quicken Loans, or
Oh, you guys are a bank too,
yeah, we're a bank. We're FDIC.
hence the name. So it's not just mortgages.
Yes, correct.
Got
So we offer incentives for people, right? So say if you want to buy a house and open a checking account with us and have auto pay
Yeah.
come out of that, we'll give you a reduction on your interest rate. We'll give you,
Yeah.
they call it like preferred pricing, a pricing incentive, they call it. Yeah. So
So how about off time?
off time.
Do you have any off time?
I'm making off time. I'm figuring it out. That's one thing you really have to leave the work at the door type thing.
Yeah.
My wife really just puts me on like, Keith, you get stop, put your phone down. So that's what I really have to start getting. I'm learning as I go. I'm getting better.
How long you been married?
Since 2018, so 2
2 years.
2 years, yeah.
And your wife is from Rhode Island originally?
Yeah, so actually we went to high school together briefly.
Wow.
Yeah, went to high school together, and then she went to optometry school, and then I went to State at Rick, state of Rhode Island, and just we always kept in touch, and then things worked out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So high school sweethearts.
Yeah. Grew apart, did our thing, and then kind
Went
of
back apart.
yeah, it worked out. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nothing like being married, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, I'm learning as I go. You know what I mean? I can always be better.
Yeah,
So
same
that's
here.
I'm always improving, always communicating more, and that's what I'm learning. That's what I've learned
I find that my job too, I'm constantly working all day.
all the time.
So when I come home, my mind is just like, I need to decompress.
Correct.
I don't want to talk about what color the trim or the paint.
Oh.
It's just like, honey, I trust you.
Yes.
Please do it. I will 100% love it.
But she wants you to be involved too.
Correct.
So you gotta care. You gotta
to my
know.
wife, I love my wife very much, but
Yep.
I just sometimes my mental stamina is depleted,
Correct.
and I need to rejuvenate it by not
Yes. No, I agree.
thinking or not doing anything
Uh-huh.
substantial.
I agree.
So that's one of the things I'm trying to get better at too, is just balancing that work life. But that fucking phone follows me everywhere.
It's amazing what it can do. It gets you in touch with anybody. I mean, between social media, texting, calls, emails. I mean, you can do a lot with your phone. That's all you need, really.
When did you get your first phone? How old were you?
So I think I got the iPhone. It was a flip.
Yeah.
It was a Razr, Motorola
Yeah.
Razr. I had one of those. I think I don't know if that was my first one, but I remember that one. I don't know. I was 16 when I got my first job. When I could afford one, and then I had one of those Nextels. Those are really cool. And then the first iPhone, I got the iPhone 4. That was awesome. And then I've always stuck with that.
Me too. I got the
iOS.
3GS, I think was my first one. It was like a rounded phone, the iPhone,
Yeah.
and I've stuck with it.
Yeah. I don't want to have to relearn it.
You remember texting when it was The numbers, you had to hit it
Oh, yes.
3 times to get to the one letter.
Yeah, I remember that. I forget what they called that. They called it something.
It was expensive.
I don't know, but I remember that, and then calling at certain hours of the day or texting at certain hours of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just unbelievable. I was even asking other loan officer who works in the branch with me, I was like, how did you do mortgages, like, prior to the internet?
Yeah.
Or prior to all this
Good
stuff? It was just sheets. I guess you just do a call, but it's still kind of like that, but it's much easier now with the technology. You can just get and connect with people much faster.
Do you think that the home buying process, and I asked Dan Balkin, who was a title officer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know
asked
Dan.
him, I said, Dan, do you ever think that the home buying process will be all digital? Or will there always need to be wet signatures at a table with a person? Is that?
So I think for like security reasons and like there's a lot that goes involved with like compliance. They want to know like they want to make sure that person's present signing. You know, I guess with the e-signature, yes, it's tied to an IP address or whatever, but still you don't.
It could be you on my phone. Right?
Correct. Yeah. So I think you always need that. You always need the human element too. At the end of the day, people want to talk to someone. Really, put it in layman's terms. Don't just, how do I understand buying a home? Walk me through the steps and make it, I try to make it as easy as possible for the borrower, you know, let them know what I'll need, set the expectation, you know,
Yeah.
and then, people want to hear someone's voice on the other end, you know, I think that's huge.
So you think there's always going to be quasi?
I think so, I don't know, I can't predict the future. I think that across all industry, you know, there's going to be somewhat, like look at Stop and Shop for example, right? They have self-checkouts, but there's always that one person standing at that self-checkout
True.
servicing because people need help. I don't know how to figure this out, help me out, you know, so.
What number for my bananas?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
4274. I
Yeah.
had that memorized for some reason.
Oh, you work at Stop and Shop?
No,
Oh.
I'm just there so often.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, banana is my favorite fruit.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, they're good.
How about eating? What are you doing? You're so busy, you're not spending 2 hours cooking a meal.
So I've been doing a little bit of HelloFresh, you know.
How is that?
It's okay, not bad. It's good because me and my wife gives us time to, you know, cook together, do a thing together, and then try to eat a little bit healthy, you know.
True.
It's real food, it's real ingredients. You just put it together and they tell you how to do it. It's good too because they have all these crazy spices that you would never just buy, you know. So that makes it convenient. Try to just and I grill a lot. I like to grill.
The grill master.
Keep all the mess outside. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
What are you grilling?
What am I? I grill everything.
Everything.
Yeah, so last night I grilled, we had chicken, I did eggplants on the grill, which was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Grilled up some corn on the cob, I like doing that too. We'll grill all veggies, you know, I'll just try it, you know. Google some recipes or whatever we have and grill on it.
My grill caught on fire.
Oh, gotta get the Weber.
Dude, I have the Weber.
The Genesis 2, the Weber Genesis 2, that's what
I don't know
I got
what
it
it is.
recently bought it off Amazon, it was not too bad. Well, it was worth getting, is all I'm saying. Gotta get it.
What happened was, I was cooking chicken, I closed it, and I like to put my chicken in a little olive oil. So
Yep.
that it gives them a nice golden, buttery taste.
Absolutely.
But the olive oil is highly flammable.
Okay.
So it was dripping down into like
The drip in, whatever,
I'm thinking it was on the flame itself.
and you had flames.
And then the grill caught on fire.
Jeez. Was it like you had it for a while? Could have been like.
It
Build
might
up
have
in there.
been buildup. But
Yeah.
I remember being so nervous. I went under my sink and the seller of my house in Warwick here said, "Oh, Craig, I left the fire extinguisher under the sink." And I'm like, "All right, yeah, thanks.
Cool.
Not gonna need that piece."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, let me grab that."
Yeah.
Thank God,
Yeah.
because I felt like it would have just. I mean, it is a grill. They're supposed to be, you know, non-flammable, but that was one of the scariest things I've ever encountered.
It could have been like a grease fire or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to know. I gotta get one, probably fire extinguisher for my house.
Think of me.
Yeah, no, I will.
Are you a guy that's out there cutting the lawn? Are you a landscaper guy?
So, me and my wife we just closed on our house 2 weeks ago.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, and
So Rhode Island?
Mass, right over the line, Millville.
Ah.
Yeah, so we just bought a nice house and in the process of furnishing it, and then I've actually got the eye on a couple lawnmowers, a couple ride-ons, you know. I gotta do it.
Millville is past Woonsocket?
So it's kind of near, it's right, like North Smithfield, so
Okay.
right north of North Smithfield. So like I go to there's a couple markets, there's a little market over there I go to. It's like right over the line.
So what made you choose Mass, or did it just, you like the house and?
It was, we were looking for a while, like the housing market right now is pretty tough.
Yep.
I think we got lucky. We got in at the right time, obviously good offer.
Yeah.
And my wife, she works in Worcester, I work in Warwick, so it's kind of like a good middle.
Middle.
Yeah, worked out well.
What does she do in Worcester? We got an office in Worcester.
Oh, she is a optometrist. So,
okay.
Yep, so if you ever need, when you go to the eye doctor, 1, 2,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So her family has a practice up there, and she's been there for about 5 years now, so.
You ever been up there, Worcester?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever go to that little diner? It's called Miss Worcester. It's on the corner. It's under a
the bridge. I know exactly what it is.
Great diner.
Yeah. They have no, I know exactly what that is. You go right there and you take a right and the bridge is right there, yeah?
Yep.
It's a Park Ave. It's close to Park Ave over there. Yeah, I know Worcester well. I go up there quite with my wife, and she has family up there and stuff, so.
And where did you grow up?
Coventry, Rhode Island. Yeah. Right on Johnson's Pond. It was cool.
Really?
Yeah, it was great. I had a great,
You grew up on the pond?
across the street from the pond. So
you were
right in
at the
Yep.
all around all day and
Loved it, yeah. Had jet skis, boats, fishing, all that stuff. It was great.
your folks still got a house up there? Or?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they have a house right in Coventry, and they love it. I would have kind of stayed more local, but between how it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've been looking too for a house on the water, and it's just impossible. And then when they do come up, we bid on one. It was on Johnson's Pond a few weeks ago. It was asking $415, so we said we'll do $440.
So would it go to $475 or something?
We don't even know. But the realtor was like, "I'm sorry, you were overbid and with cash," and we're like, so double competition.
Yeah, it's kind of. Have you been searching to buy a home in this market for a while or no?
6 months.
Yeah, so it's really, as far as on my end, kind of inside looking at it, certain price points really have a ton of competition, and where others, you higher you go up, you get a little bit less, and just certain strategies you can use to see if you can get your bid to win. Little things too, where people ask the seller to help pay for their closing costs.
Right.
It was kind of like a thing of that, going all my new purchase deals, I kind of advise borrowers, if you can't afford to pay them, because you're
less
gonna be,
things.
yeah, exactly. So things like that,
So how much lower will the interest rates go?
I can't predict the future. I could tell you a rate. I could say, they're gonna go in the 1%, but that would be a lie. I don't know.
What's your gut? Are they gonna trickle down a few more? Half percentage here, or maybe a 1.25, or is it gonna creep back up after the election?
So for me, what I've been noticing is a kind of leveling out of rates. Sub 3s, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Never been any historically low as they've ever been. I don't really see them going much lower than that. And so probably right where they're going to be, right around there. Possibly after the election, depending on who's elected, the current climate of the market. There's a lot of different variables that come into play, but if it stays kind of the way it is now, for the foreseeable future anyway, I don't see rates going up. But
So you're refi driven and purchase driven, or is it more than the other?
so about 70% of my business is purchase.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm still, I guess in the terms of the mortgage business, there's a lot of guys been in the business much longer than me. I'm kind of still kind of new, relatively new. People have been in 20, 30, 25 years, 15 years, much longer than me. And so for me anyway, I try to focus on purchases, and then obviously what the bigger my past clients are, that's when I can kind of go back and work on refining them, and but mostly purchases.
So you said in the beginning of the interview, the purchase is really your ideal client, that the refis, you shouldn't rely on them.
Correct.
Elaborate.
So, for instance, you say you close, 5 purchase deals a month over the course of, say, 3 years, 4 years. You can now go back on those purchases, reach back out to those clients and see what you can do. Maybe they need cash out. Maybe they need to consolidate some credit cards, or they want to make some home improvements on their home, and everyone's financial situation changes I think once every 3 months. Don't quote me there, but I know it's
Yeah.
something like that where,
Makes sense.
yeah, so I mean, when you have those purchases, you can really, and you deal with, you have a relationship with that person throughout the whole process of buying the house. They have issues or the concerns, and you talk a lot,
Yeah.
So after that, they trust you, and that's really the big thing, that trust level. And so yeah, you can go back on those purchases and service them.
Hey, I see they're at 4.5. Maybe try this 2 point whatever.
Correct. I know it's a no-brainer.
They already trust you. They already know you.
Yep.
So you're circling the wagons.
Correct.
Which most of the time with a refinance, it's a shot in the dark. It's a mailer. It's an advertisement. There's no pre-existing.
I've never had any good luck with any of those as far as like refi. I'm sure other people have. For me personally, I've just much easier for me to, like if it's a lead or something, I'll call it, and it's usually a first-time home buyer, and then from there, that's when I get like a purchase. Someone pre-approved. Obviously, once you got to vet them, verify income, assets, all that stuff. But then, so really purchases for me I've had success with.
So I've done business with a credit union. I've done business with a regular bank, Citizens Bank, and then I've also gotten mortgages with a broker.
Okay.
Like, which one I did, Cerio Pacific. I got a loan from them one time. And I noticed that, well now, the credit unions, I'm pulling everything away from them. I do not like dealing with the credit unions because I feel they're very clunky.
Yes.
They're very
Technology is
dated
just
on
awful.
the technology.
Yes.
And also I noticed that I get a phone call when they have a question on my file or a question about this, about very simple things that maybe you could just email, maybe you could have texted, but I think on the big picture, all right, if they're calling everybody with every question, what's going on behind the scenes? Is that why they're 0.5% higher than the brokers? Is that why they don't get back to you? Is that why I'm getting mailed statements? Like, I just don't like that, and I moved almost everything away from them. So what's your thoughts on different types of banking and lending institutions and where the folks at home should be looking based on their preferences?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, So I work for a couple different banks, and I have noticed just super outdated tech. Like it takes forever just to get a simple answer on something, or you have to call too many departments to get a straight answer.
Yeah.
Also, as far as, higher rates for certain banks, different banks have different overlays, and they have their own, they have adhered to their investors, So all I can really speak with my experience with Northpointe anyway, and nothing but positive things, Great culture, great rates, good servicing, and I fully believe in what I provide, the service I provide. If you believe in what you're trying to convey and help people do, you'll have no issues. It's not like you're selling them something that, so. And to answer your question, anyone should work with any institution that is ease of use. Whatever is easiest for you, that's what I say go and use.
Good answer.
Yeah.
So how did you choose Northpointe to work? I mean, there's so many other places to work. What gravitated you to here?
So I kind of grew into it. So we were once Homepoint Financial, and now we're in Northpointe Bank.
So maybe tell me what gravitated you to Homepoint.
Okay. So remember I was telling you how I was working in Newport? And I was kind of looking to transition out of like that retail personal banker role type thing, and applied online, Indeed, job posting, went in, gave it my all, I got hired, and it just worked out from there.
That's just how I found Nexus too. I was on Craigslist though.
Okay.
I was on Craigslist, the Craigslist Killer they call me. I was on there looking for any old thing.
Okay.
And I saw leasing agent wanted. So I'm like,
let's go for it.
I could do that. I'm fresh out of college, and lo and behold, now I'm vice president. 7 years of growth and progress.
I know, it's amazing, and it's just communication.
That's it.
That's all you're doing. It's just talking to people.
Relationships.
That's it. It's crazy how you can I love it. That's why it's like, you know what I mean? How you love what you do, and it's not a 9 to 5.
No, it's
not.
Holy, it's 8 o'clock.
I know, that's what you want. You want days fly, the weeks fly by. I think too, being in real estate too, there's so many deadlines you have to hit. It just makes the time go by that much faster.
Feels it.
Yeah, absolutely. So property management, do you know anyone in the business? What made you just kind of?
Like I said,
I gotcha, yeah.
it was just there, and I applied, and our CEO, Nick Dagnillo, didn't even, it was like 3 seconds. Like I sent the email within 3 seconds. I sent him my resume. He goes, "You look like you'd be a great fit for the position." And I'm thinking, this guy didn't even read my resume. I like him.
Well, he just saw potential, you know? He had a kind of just talk to you.
Come on in.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome.
So I didn't even, I mean, my uncles in Connecticut, they own a bunch of commercial property.
Yeah.
But that's really all the touch I have in the business. But I love it because it's so, everything evolves around properties.
Yeah.
It's you, it's real estate, it's home inspections, it's banks, it's everything evolves around real estate. So
Yeah.
that's why I love being in it, because we're the nucleus.
I agree. Yeah, everyone needs a place to live. I mean, it's one of those things like people say the market, this, that, what's the uncertainty. It's not how it was in 2008 where lending was just really bad.
Right.
It's not like that anymore. There's a lot of red tape. We really vet our borrowers to make sure they do qualify. And so it's not, our lending practices aren't broken. It's like an outside force with the coronavirus and what's going on. Will interest rates be this low? Probably not. I don't know. Just gotta make the best when you can and just,
Right on.
yeah.
What was the best advice that you got coming up?
Just being persistent. That's the main thing. Not just being consistent and persistent. Huge. That's where a lot of people fall off. They think that they want to get into business, or they're only in it for the money, or they're just not, they're not patient. Patience too. It's a good one too. Being patient, waiting. No one's
Isn't
gonna.
that hard though?
It is.
In today's world.
It is very hard. It's sticking with something and just seeing how it pans out. That was huge for me. Like, obviously the older I get, I see it now. I'm like, oh, okay. Seeing where you were to where you are now, you're like, oh, okay, wow, look at that. I'm doing something right.
I remember when I got my first loan, it was in Brace Home Loans in Newport.
Okay, yeah. Middletown, right?
Yeah, Middletown,
Yeah,
sorry.
right.
And it was Matt Bates, who's now with Movement Home.
Okay, cool, yeah.
And I remember badgering him daily. Hey, any updates? Hey, any of this? Hey, any of this? And he's like, bro, I'll let you know. But I remember that moment being like, I need to be patient.
Yeah.
I need to just step back. I'm excited.
Yes.
Which probably a lot of you at home who are getting a mortgage are excited.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, Keith, any news? And you're probably like, you got 100 things going on. I'll let you know
Yes,
as soon as I hear something.
absolutely.
But how do you educate maybe somebody this is their only loan they ever do?
Of course, yeah. So I like to always stay in touch with people, even if there's nothing's going on, right? Their loans in underwriting, appraisals have been ordered, inspections have been done, and now we're just waiting, right? So right now, this time of year, it's high volume going on between just the time of year, interest rates being so low, a lot of refis, believe it or not, purchases are still strong too. So it's just a matter of just being in constant communication, giving updates with people. Just want to let you know, your loan's still in underwriting. If I need anything from you, just, I'll let you know. But as of right now, we're all good. Try to do that. Quick text or something, or call, or wherever, or email. Sometimes people just prefer emails. However their preferred method of communication is, I like to give them a quick update.
Even when you don't have to.
Correct. Yep. Because if you're not in communication with someone, they're thinking about other things, or they think something could be going wrong when it's just, everything's on track. It's just, we have to wait.
Do you find that people badger you more when you reach out with just a courtesy, hey, blah, blah, blah? Do you think that makes them worry sometimes, or do you think it always just smooths it over and keeps them at bay for X amount of days?
So people worry when they're just uncertain of things, right? They're not knowing what's going on, so that's why they're worried. But if they know what's going on, then you'll ease their worries. Okay, now I understand. So you have to explain things to them, let them know what is going on, why we're asking these questions, why I'm telling you to sign this, what it is. Explain it to them. People aren't dumb, they know, they just don't know necessarily the terms or what they're signing for or why they have to wait or things like that. Just communicate and go in depth as to what they're doing. Give them a little insight as to why they're signing it and why we have to wait and what's going on.
What's the biggest friction point that you always come across with most, or if not all, borrowers that they always have multiple questions on this, or they're always like, Keith, call me on this, I don't like this, or I don't get this.
Yeah, so sometimes it's not even like, it's just getting like proper bank statements from people. That's real tough. That's real tough to do.
Not a screenshot?
Not a screenshot, not one page. That's really, it's a killer. That's a tough one.
That's so easy, you just click the button and
Yeah,
send it
but
PDF.
it's just, that's one of the things. But you know, I have assistants, so they help me out with that, so which is good.
How about people that have cash? Oh, like me, I have cash, right? I
Okay.
keep cash in an undisclosed location
Okay.
because I don't want it in the bank. I like to have some liquidity aside from my checking account.
Okay.
What if, all right, I got this amount here and then I throw it in here and I'm gonna use all that for the down payment?
Do you need a mortgage?
Well, if I was in this case.
I mean, if you'd have to season that money, we have to see where it comes from, so we always have to source money.
But how do you source it if it came from, I keep it in my closet, right? And then I put it in the bank and I say, Keith, this was in my closet. Do you guys exclude it and say, no, we can't verify it, or do you wait 60 days? Or...
Yeah, so there's a couple things you can do. Really, it's just keep your money in the bank, is all I can say.
That's the easiest for your
As far as financing goes, yes. You always want to keep your money in the bank. It's safe there. I understand people have some cash. It's always good to have some cash, maybe a couple $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need anything more than, who needs that much cash? Everything now is credit card, debit card, everything's electronic now anyway. Venmo, like all those cash apps and stuff. So usually if someone has a ton of cash, could be a potential red flag, they call it in the business, where are they doing illegal things? Are they not doing illegal things? And that's really what banks look for.
Mm.
So that's why they need to see sourcing funds. That's why they need to see money in the bank. They want to see where it came from.
So what's your duty, and have you ever had to report or flag something that you saw suspicious and said, hey, to my upper management, you gotta look at this guy or gal, it looks weird.
Yeah, so usually a lot of it falls on the loan officer. A lot of it does. We get trained ethics and all that, like all the guidelines and laws that take place. And if you can't help them, right, you have to deny the loan, or you have to give them the news and you let them know why.
Have you ever had that where you've had to report somebody, maybe criminal activity?
Not yet, no. Hopefully I don't ever have to do that. Hey, only time will tell, you never know.
What's the biggest hurdle profession-wise to get them approved? Like a restaurant owner or
yeah, so I guess maybe self-employed, but people who are self-employed and, they want to not pay taxes, right?
Understandable.
They want to, but also if you're a younger person and you're not paying your taxes, you're not reporting any income,
right?
Because I don't want to pay the tax man, but when it comes time to buy a house,
you have no adjusted gross to work from.
You got nothing. So then you got to either pay your taxes or wait a couple of years and report income. So that's, I guess, the one piece of advice. If you're self-employed, and you're thinking about buying a house in a couple of years, start reporting some income.
So do you see some people that, all right, I made $100,000, but then they write off $90,000 and they make 10?
Or even less, like 5. What are you doing?
So they wouldn't even qualify for a library book.
I don't know. But yeah, no. It's craziness, but people do it a lot because they think that I don't want to pay all these taxes, but at the same time, you can't. I don't know, but yeah, you have to pay your taxes. That's why it's designed the way it is.
Yeah. The system is for a reason.
Yeah, correct.
So what's the biggest loan that you've ever done for a single family?
I don't even know. That's a good question.
$1 million?
No, not that high. I haven't done any, not yet anyway. It's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But no $1 million loans, maybe over $500,000, maybe 600,000, or the conforming loan limit, so 510,000.
Got it.
Anything over that, it's considered
jumbo,
or high balance, or kind of, but so about $500,000. Yeah.
Is there anything different, like once you get up higher in this amount compared to a $300,000 or $200,000 loan? Is there anything different from the consumer's end? Like, do they have to put down more? Is there more requirements on insurance, or like, is there any difference?
So if you go over the conforming loan limits, that's when things change. That's when it gets a little bit, you need more reserves, your rate might be a little higher, and you gotta have, because you gotta think too, if someone's gonna buy $1 million house, you gotta make sure that you have money and you can afford $1 million house.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the big thing. But again, most of my business is first-time home buyers, or during what's going on with the corona, people are in their first home they bought, and they want to buy a bigger house.
Yeah.
So that I see a lot of that too.
Because people are getting stir crazy.
Exactly. They need more room. That's why you have those open houses with like 50 or 100 people come through, and it's just like, oh my god. It's like that's never happened before. I mean, I don't know, not in my experience anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to ask you before you let us know who your guest is going to be is, what do you want people to know about you?
I love what I do. I really enjoy the real estate business. I like just talking with people, If you have any issues or problems, or if you're thinking about buying a home but you're not quite sure what you have to do, it's a lot simpler than most people think. And it's really just taking that first step, making that phone call and just figuring it out, talking with someone who can guide you through the process of buying a home. So yeah, I guess that's what I'd like people to know about me, Give me a call.
And how should they get in touch with you?
Call me, 401-524-3981, or just Google Keith Cerio at Northpointe Bank and you'll find me. And reach out to me, send me an email.
Keith.Cerio, is it?
At Northpointe with an E.
Yeah, that threw me off. The E.
Yeah, the E, yeah.
Northpointe Bank.
Yeah.
So Keith.Cerio at Northpointe with an E bank.com. And you'll get back to them.
Absolutely.
Cool, Keith. So again, thank you very much.
Of course.
Who is coming up, guest number 6 on your property manage? And tell us, build it up a little bit, tell us why, who he or she is, how you know them, and then boom.
Okay, so I think next person, his name is Tunde. I'm pretty tough with the last name.
Yeah.
He's new to the real estate business. Great guy. He's in sales, and I think that for him anyway, well, he has a sales job, but he's transitioning into the real estate game.
Cool.
I've been working with him now for quite a few months, and I think it'd be a great opportunity for him, to show the people.
Yeah.
What he does. He's great. I think he'd be great. He's going to do well for sure.
Tunde?
Tunde.
And he
is... Tunde sells. He's a real estate agent with HomeSmart.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So he's, I guess you say newer to the business, but he's going to be great for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Tunde, you're the next contestant.
Oh, you're coming up next.
Price is Right. And again, Keith, thank you very much, brother.
Absolutely.
Any questions for me, throw a comment below. We'll get right back to you. Once again, Greg and Keith here at Northpointe Bank in Warwick, your property managed.